Hi, I'm Amy Kelly. I'm up at my allotment and the sun has come out, but don't let that fool you. There is a definite nip in the air because we are in October. Just because it's getting later and, as you can tell by the warm fuzzy jumper, colder in the year, it doesn't mean that the gardening season is over. There are lots of seeds and plants that you can be putting in your garden, in your allotment right now in October and in November, no greenhouse required. So for a start, there is your autumn onions and your autumn garlic, and then there's all sorts of seeds that actually really benefit from being sown now before the cold weather, because that spell of cold weather triggers the seed to start germinating. So I'm going to show you some of those. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe because I've got lots more amazing videos coming up for you. Right now, I am going to show you some of the seeds that you can be sowing outside in the garden right now. No heat required, no greenhouse, no nothing. And then I'm going to give you my tips to get the very best harvest from your onions and your garlics and your shallots, which you can all plant in the garden right now. So let's go over to the seed bed and talk about stratification. Stratification in the world of gardening refers to the process of keeping your seeds cold, and I mean like in the fridge cold, for several weeks to trigger them to start germinating when the weather warms up. And if you are living in a colder climate where you get lots of frosts or snows over the winter, a lot of your native plants and plants that self-seed freely will have evolved to want to be stratified. Basically, it's the plant's own internal alarm system. So inside those tiny little seeds, there's like a little bit of genetic code, a little bit of programming that tells the seed, right, when it gets really, really, really cold, that's winter. So hold your horses. And then when it starts getting warm, that's spring, and that's when to start germinating. So you can trick seeds into thinking that they've been stratified. A lot of the commercial seed producers will absolutely do this. They basically put the seeds into cold storage for several weeks to give them that stratification, to give them that fake winter. And then when they're sold in the seed packets, they're all ready to go as soon as they get their warmer temperatures and their little bit of moisture. I am a big fan of harvesting seeds from my garden and planting them. It's cheap, it's environmentally friendly, and you never know exactly what you're going to get. You can have half a dozen different poppies in your garden and they'll all cross-pollinate with each other, and then when you sow the seeds from those poppies you get all sorts of amazing variations. So I've got some incredible sort of semi-double pink poppies that have come out of a cross between white ones and red ones and goodness only knows what else. So it's brilliant fun harvesting your own seeds, and you never know, you might get an incredible rare variation that you're able to sell on for an absolute fortune. So I've got some here that I harvested from my blue delphiniums, and I know that there are lots of other coloured delphiniums in the neighbourhood, so I don't know what colour these ones are going to come out. So these are the little seed pods, and if we pick one of them up and squeeze it out, those little black specks are the actual seeds, and that's what you want to plant. If you aren't sure how deep to plant the seeds that you've harvested, the internet is your friend. Just hop on the internet and ask it, how deep do I plant delphinium seeds or poppy seeds or geranium seeds or whatever sorts of seeds you have managed to collect, and it will tell you the planting depth. Regardless of what kind of seed you're planting, it wants to be in soil that will get cold over the winter. Frost, snow, the whole thing is fine, but will not be flooded and waterlogged. If those seeds are sitting in flooded, waterlogged soil, they're probably going to rot and never have a chance to germinate. The other important tip is make sure you label your seeds, because these are going to be sitting in the soil for months over the winter before they start to emerge in the spring, and you will absolutely forget what you have sown where if you don't label it. Every gardener out there has done it and has learned the hard way. So save yourself the hassle and mark what you've planted and where, and then look in the spring for those seedlings to start to come up. One little caveat, not all seeds require stratification. So if you're living in a lovely warm country like South America or certain parts of Australia or even the warmer states of America, not all of your plants are going to want that stratification, and likewise if they're plants that have come from those warmer areas. So for example, your dahlia seeds are not going to want to be stratified, your gerbera seeds are not going to want to be stratified. Any tender plant, any plant that is unhappy if it gets a little bit of frost, those seeds will not want to be stratified and will probably want to be germinated at a really warm temperature. But as I say again, if you're living somewhere like Ireland where it gets frosty and snowy over the winter, there are loads of seeds that you can be sowing into the garden right now to give you those beautiful plants and flowers next year. So delphinium, obviously, there is an annual form of delphinium called larkspur. So same absolutely gorgeous flowers, but if you sow it now, it'll be flowering for you next year, and then the parent plant will die, but you'll have loads more seeds, so you can keep sowing it, and it does produce the most incredible, beautiful blooms. Antirrhinum, which I grew up knowing as snapdragon, all varieties of antirrhinum or snapdragons want to be stratified. So mine self-seed really happily in the garden, but if you are going for a specific colour or a specific crossbreed between a couple of different varieties, get them sown now and your plants will do much better. You'll have a much higher germination rate than if you just rely on that self-sowing. If you're putting it in a bed that has been prepared, that you're looking after it, that you're keeping it weed-free, you're always going to have a much higher success rate than just relying on that random self-seeding. Granny's bonnet or aquilegia, which some people would know as columbines, they're another one that you can be sowing right now to give you those beautiful flowers next year. So if you aren't sure whether you should be sowing it now or whether it needs those warmer temperatures, again, ask the internet, ask me in the comments, and I will let you know whatever's easier for you. But get sowing now. There are, of course, loads more things that we wait until spring to sow, but there are so many that you can be getting into the garden right now that are going to love you for that little blast of winter cold. It's not just seeds that you can be sowing in October and November. You can also sow certain varieties of garlic and onions and shallots. Now, not every garlic, onion, shallot, not every member of the allium family can be sown at this time of year. So it's the wrong time of year to sow your leeks. It's the wrong time of year to sow a lot of your summer onions, but there are a number of autumn or winter varieties that you can sow right now that will grow a little bit and then sort of go to sleep a bit over the winter when it gets really cold, but then they'll be ready to go, rooted, a little bit of growth on them already, ready to get a little bit of a head start so that these will be ready to harvest earlier on next year. So let's start off with our delicious onions. This is called an onion set. So this started life as a seed. The seed would have grown to this point over the course of the spring and summer this year, and now it's gone into dormancy. So it's like a little baby onion all ready to kickstart and grow into a lovely big full-fledged onion for next year. So this is the sort of onion that you want to be planting at this time of year. It's too late to sow them from seed. If you're growing from seed, wait until spring next year. Now this particular variety used to be called radar, but these days it's just called yellow winter onion. It is one of the tastiest, in my opinion, easiest to grow onions out there. The key to success with your onions is not planting them too deeply. So when you plant these in the soil, you want the top of the onion poking up above the soil. Whenever these do start growing, the roots are really, really shallow. So don't hoe around onions or garlic, always hand weed them. They like a really well-drained, really rich, fertile soil, and they prefer that soil to be a little bit on the alkali side. So this bed previously had potatoes in it, so it's full of lovely manure. I've added a bit of extra fertilizer, so it's lovely and nutritious for our little onions going in. But potatoes really prefer a slightly acidic soil, and these want it slightly alkaline. So if your soil is on the acidic side, you can add some lime to the soil. You buy it at garden centres, or some hardware shops would sell it. Sprinkle it into the soil and rake it in. I've already done that. So we've got our soil now slightly alkaline, just the way it wants it. Lovely, rich and fertile, all completely clear of weeds, and we are ready to start planting our lovely little onions. It's important to check each little set before you plant it in the ground. You want it to be firm. You want no signs of rot or mold or weird spots or any deformation of the bulb. It should be a lovely, smooth, healthy looking bulb. You want to plant these 10 centimetres or 4 inches apart, and you're just going to pop those into the soil. You can dig a trench and plant them that way, but this soil is really lovely and soft and friable, so all I need to do is just poke them in. 4 inches is the width of my palm, which makes it lovely and easy for planting. You're just wanting to poke them in so that the tops are sticking out. Keep your row nice and straight, because that's always so much more satisfying, isn't it? Now, because the tops of these are poking up, you will sometimes get a hungry bird that comes along and either mistakes it for a worm or thinks, oh, if I pull this out, I'll be able to find grubs around the roots. So these do not need any protection from cold, but you might want to put a little bit of fleece or some netting or a bit of chicken wire or something over the top of them, just to stop any cheeky birds coming and pulling your onions up by the roots over the winter. The farther apart you plant your onions, the bigger they will get. The closer they are, the more crowded they'll be, and they'll stay smaller. So it's completely up to you how big you want your onions. If you're growing for a competition or for an exhibition, by all means space them farther apart, 15 to 20 centimetres, 6 to 8 inches, to give them that extra growing space. Just like the onions have got red and white varieties, there are pink and white varieties of garlic, and there are both that you can plant at this time of year. Now, regardless of colour, garlic really comes in 2 types. There is hardneck garlic. Now, this is garlic that grows a scape. It grows a stem with a little flower bud on it. If you leave that flower bud, it will create a beautiful little pom-pom flower, and then you'll get seeds, and you can grow garlic from those seeds. Or the smart thing to do, when it sends up that stem with the flower bud on it, snip it off. The stem and flower bud are edible and they are delicious, and that is called a scape. So a garlic scape is the stem and the immature flower that you snip off, and you can stir fry it, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now, softneck garlic does not get those scapes, so you don't get that extra crop, but they keep longer. The real and the most important difference about the 2 varieties is how much cold they can tolerate. So the hardneck garlic, and both varieties that I'm planting here today are hardneck varieties. The hardneck garlic is really hardy. That means it can put up with a lot of cold. We are talking temperatures as low as minus 35 degrees Celsius, which is minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, contingent on having good drainage, but these are plants that can cope with seriously cold temperatures. After you harvest these, they won't keep for as long. So only plant as much as you can really use within a few months. The softneck varieties will keep for much longer, but they need warmer weather conditions. So your softneck garlic really wants temperatures no colder than freezing. So sort of 0 to 10 degrees Celsius is where they want to be as a winter minimum, which is the equivalent to 32 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or thereabouts. So much less tolerant of cold. Now, here in my lovely cold area in the north of Ireland, it is definitely hardneck varieties for me. And to be perfectly honest, I usually grow hardneck varieties anyway. They have a stronger, punchier flavour, and I really like that. And I look forward to those scapes almost as much as the garlic itself. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my favourite variety this year, which is one called Ducot, which has just the most tender, delicious scapes. But I do have 2 varieties. I've got a white and I've got a pink garlic. Now, to plant your garlic, you actually pull the bulb apart. This is a bulb of garlic, so that's the whole thing all bound together. If you break that apart, Each of these little individual parts from inside the bulb is called a clove, and these cloves are what you plant. Being careful not to damage these individual cloves, and you plant each individual clove. Each one of those cloves is triggered by the cold weather over the winter to split and make a bulb with lots of segments of garlic. If your garlic doesn't get cold enough over the winter, it won't split and you'll get just one single clove. There's nothing wrong with that. You can still eat it, but you get much more bang for the buck if you plant it now and it gets that cold weather and it gets triggered to make that whole delicious bulb. Once you've got your cloves divided, you want to plant these just like the onions, with the topmost part of the clove sticking up out of the soil. And these want to be about 20 centimetres or 8 inches apart. And again, these can benefit from a little bit of protection from greedy birds that will see the little shoot starting to come up at the top and think it might be a little grub that they can eat. So now that these are planted, all that's left to do is label them so that I remember which variety I've planted where, give them a bit of watering, put something over the top to keep the birds away from them, and then these will look after themselves until the spring. If you start to get a lot of weeds all around them, weed those out by hand. Don't use a hoe, don't use any sort of garden tool. The roots of onions and garlic are incredibly shallow. So if you go along with a hoe, you are going to wreck all of the roots that these have worked so hard to grow for you. So there are some crops at the allotment that don't mind having weeds around them, and there are some that I even deliberately let a few weeds grow around them, like my brassicas. I don't mind if a bit of chickweed grows underneath because it keeps the ground shaded and keeps the moisture in. That's fine, but onions do not like that competition. This is a crop that it is worth doing the weeding, and it's worth doing it by hand. So look for any varieties of autumn or winter onions, look for any varieties of autumn or winter garlic. Hardneck or Softneck is up to you, but if you're in a colder climate, go for the Hardneck and make sure you harvest those delicious scapes as well. There is one other allium crop that you can plant at this time of year, and that is shallots, which are sometimes called shallots. Now they look just like your onions. They come as a single set, either a little fat round one or a long thin one, all different shapes and sizes. But they are amazing because you plant one and it grows a whole little bunch of little tiny shallots that you can then harvest. They're really sweet, they're really mild, they're absolutely delicious. I'm not growing any this year, but I promise another year I will show you all sorts of wonderful things with them. You can plant these winter onions and garlic and shallots if you are in Ireland or England or Scotland or Wales or most of Northern Europe. If you are in USDA hardiness zones 8 or 9 or any warmer than that, you can absolutely plant these. If your soil is already frozen, it is too late. You need to do this before the soil freezes. And it is really important that you use the right varieties of onion and garlic and shallots, because not all of them are suitable for this winter planting. You can plant your shallots, you can plant your onions, you can plant your garlic, you can plant all of your seeds that need to be stratified, that need that winter cold. There is just so much still to do in the garden and at the allotment to get ready for a wonderful harvest and a beautiful, colourful garden next year. So please don't feel like just because the cold weather is drawing in, there's no more joy to be had in the garden, because that couldn't be farther from the truth. There is so much that you can be doing, so many excuses to get your hands back into that soil. So get out, get yourself some autumn or winter onions and garlic and shallots and get them planted, and look forward to those delicious harvests next year. I will see you next week with another fabulous video, and in the meantime, happy gardening.